Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Hannes Graah, and I don't have the prompter on here, but maybe that's fine. My name is Hannes Graah, and I'm another Swedish entrepreneur in Berlin. There's been a couple of here. I guess it's a great city to be in. And I'm going to talk a bit about customer problems, specifically in Web3, and whether we're focusing on the right customer problems. So when I checked yesterday, someone on stage asked how many here were using crypto or Web3. I think about 1/3 or 1/4 of the audience were there. Maybe you can do a little sense check here. How many people here have, let's start with, how many people have bought crypto of some kind? Okay, how many have used MetaMask? Okay, so even less in this room than in the other room. I would expect it to be the other way around. Then it may be good to anchor in what is one of the underlying things for why we're diving into Web3 and one of the big problems that we're first trying to solve with this. And I like to do that with a little exercise. Imagine that you're going to your work, your office work, you're doing your marketing slides or developing a code, whatever it might be, and then you're blocked at the door and you say, you have to do this medical operation, and if you don't, you can't go to work. And you're like, I don't want to do this. And also this operation, I'm afraid of some of the consequences of it. So you refuse to do it. In fact, you engage in a silent protest against this. What happens then is that the government says, this is not cool, and they freeze your bank accounts. So you can't pay for your rent or your food. And so you get your friends and your family to pay for you. But then their accounts get frozen as well. And all of a sudden you're frozen out from being able to live your daily life. This happened last year. So if you haven't heard of this, let me introduce you to the Canadian trucker protests, where cross-border truckers refused to take the COVID vaccine, which maybe in retrospect, you can argue the benefits and the cons of taking the vaccine. But regardless of whether you agree with the vaccine or not, people who refused to take it were blocked their financial accounts by the Canadian government. So in January, these protests started, and in February, Justin Trudeau enacted an emergency shutdown, which is the first time that's been done, called the Emergency Act, the first time it's been done in Canada. And indeed, the truckers' accounts were blocked, and then their friends and their families' accounts were blocked. This is not your North Korean or Russian government that freezes account. This is a liberal, freedom-loving democracy that weaponizes the financial system to, in this case, suppress freedom of speech. And this should act as a wake-up call that this is something that can happen in places where we don't expect it. Over the longest period of time, people have been in control of their own finances, of their own assets, for more than 8,000 years, starting with barter, physical goods, manufactured goods, rare metals, eventually minted into coins. People were in control of their own assets, their own value, and could pay for their own things. But very recently, value is now custodied with advent of online banking and payment cards in the end of 20th century. All of a sudden now people, and because of convenience, it's really nice to be able to pay from a card or from a phone. People are now relinquishing the ability to control their own value, to decide what transactions to engage in, and letting instead the custodians have that say, and the custodians that are also under guidance from governments on how they can do that. But this is not something that just happens in Canada. In fact, right now we're in Europe, and 3 months ago, we now have the European Parliament has decided to enact constraints on cash transactions in Europe as well. 6K of euro, 1K on crypto. In France, actually, there is already illegal to make transactions above 1,000 euro in cash. Can't make cash transactions above 1,000 euros illegal. Christine Lagarde was caught on video a couple of months ago where she actually said that was a Europe-wide policy. She intermingled the territories. So this is something that's also very close at hand happening right here. And I think it's important for us to think here about this policy. It's not something that you should judge whether the powers that you give to the government, it's not just something you should judge about whether the people whose policies you agree with have those powers. But once the people whose policies you don't agree with come to power, are you okay with them having those powers? So when the next Stalin, or insert some evil ruler's name, comes to power, are you okay with them having these powers, right? So this is the overarching problem that crypto is trying to solve, is to maintain people's ability to transact freely, to have the freedom to make transactions. because this is something that ensures us to be able to exercise our other freedoms. But it's also something that allows us to have the most efficient way to transact value with others. There's a direct exchange of value between two individuals without any intermediaries or custodians. And utterly in its simplest form, crypto is permission-free payments. Just making payments back and forth without custodians, without middlemen. Now, then the question is, okay, what are the problems that are blocking this? What are the problems that are preventing us from engaging in permission-free payments and make this on a daily basis? Because right now, the majority of things happening in the crypto or Web3 space, to use another number, are still relatively inside the crypto space, buying and selling different tokens internally. Some big problems that have been around for several years have actually now kind of been solved. So we've seen a lot of innovation that's been breaking down some of the problems, like speed. You don't have to wait 15 minutes for a transaction to get confirmed anymore. You don't have to stand 15 minutes in front of your barista. Cost, you can now make transactions at very, very low cost thanks to various scaling solutions on the Ethereum virtual machine, L2s and alternative layer 1s. And also you don't have to transact in Bitcoin or ETH or one of these other volatile asset tokens. Now you can transact in solid stores of value, i.e. send digital dollars, not Bitcoins or Dogecoins. And security models have also been solved. It used to be that you had to write down 12 keywords and store it on your pillow and hope it didn't get lost. But now there are multiple MPC, account abstraction, multi-signature wallets that solve the security problems. But there's still several problems around, right? We were not yet engaging in non-cash, digital cash, peer-to-peer transactions. There's still a lot of technical complexity around. In order to make transactions today, you still have to know about concepts like gas. I took a screenshot here of one of the more popular wallets, MetaMask, which I think 5 of you raised your hand for. And also, there are lots of risks abound in DeFi. Protocols get hacked every week. There's someone that sends money to the wrong address. There are very few safeguards in place in Web3 and crypto, which if you compare it with neobanks, my alma mater, Revolut, whole teams just dedicated on building safeguards to prevent people from hurting themselves and transferring money to the right place. Those safeguards don't exist yet in Web3. It's very easy to, it almost feels like sometimes you're encouraged to do the wrong thing because it's so hard to do the right thing. And then as we get to indeed real transactions, paying for real things with crypto. So not just buying a token that's abstracted from the real world, but being able to pay for your coffee or your rent or whatever it might be is really, really hard to do today. Frederica was over here on stage yesterday and talked about Gnosis Pay. Efforts like this, these are great, right? That starts to put crypto to be able to be used for the real world. Because if you also look at moving money over from crypto into your bank accounts, if you can't pay it straight from your wallet, that's also a very arduous adventure that may or may not work. Imagine going to your barista to buy coffee. The barista disappears for several hours, comes back and says, "You don't get any coffee today." What? And if he does say that you get the coffee, he also decides to charge you 5% extra for payment processing fee. It's very unreliable with banks that block transfers, the fees involved in the off and on ramping, right? So these are some of the problems, by no means all of the remaining problems. I think it's we've gotten long part of the way. The green things, we were really red in the past, and now they're looking really, really green, but there's still challenges for us to tackle. So what I wanted to share was some of the things that that we at Zeal, the self-custodial wallet, how we think about customer obsession, making sure that we focus on the right thing. First off is to love the problems and not the solutions. In Web3, there are so many exciting technologies and they come out new things every week. It's very quick moving, a lot of cool things coming out. So it's very easy to be excited about them, but rather obsess about the problems and make sure that we find the right solutions for those problems versus the other way around, which is hard sometimes as a technologist. Customer obsession in terms of conversations. One of the amazing things about Web3 is that your internal team comms is intermingled with your company, with your customer comms, right? So that Revolut and Spotify, my two last companies, you have your Slack and then the CRM platform over there very far, and you have to make efforts to combine them. In Web3, quite often, you have your internal channel side by side with your community channel. And so it's very easy to have those conversations, and we do them every day, interact with customers and show our latest Figma prototype and get feedback on them. And obsess about retention. I mean, by the way, none of these are very like Web3 only kind of things, but they are especially true, I would say, in Web3. To obsess about retention and product market fit. And in Web3, there are so many tokens floating around, and quite often it's easy to mistake product market fit and retention for someone chasing a token, so that can obscure the product market fit. And there are lots of tokens that have been launched out there, people chasing money, but not necessarily because there's an underlying product that has longevity. So these are some of the things that we think about when we try to make sure we focus on the right thing. And so what we built is the wallet for crypto earners. So this is it's a Web3 browser wallet called Zeal that allows you to see all of your assets across different networks, including DeFi positions, so tokens that you have inside different staking protocols like Aave, etc. And then multi-network, so you can send transactions on all these different networks. In parallel, we have different states for different tabs in your browser. So if you've used yet MetaMask, there's no jank of being thrown around between different networks. You can use all of them simultaneously. And integrated safety checks. I talked about the safeguards that we implemented at Revolut. Same thing here. When you're connecting to a site, we run safety checks on that site and tell you, can you connect to that site? You don't need a third-party software for that because it's integrated into the wallet. And when you're making a transaction, the transaction actually says what's going to happen there. Not like this, where I don't really know what's going to happen in this transaction. Maybe something, I don't know. But we show exactly the details of what's happening in the transaction. And then privacy, to shield your personal information from the RPCs and the nodes that you interact with, so that your identity can be protected in Web3. And last, well, actually not last, but I skimmed through a lot of other things that you can check on our homepage, but a feature that we're about to launch, which we're kind of announcing now, is the ability to do instant and free bank transfers. So as I mentioned, this several-hour wait to go and do and buy our coffee, we're launching a feature that will let you move assets. And I'm going to actually show, I recorded a demo last night. This is the Zeal wallet in your browser, and it's showing what tokens I have in the wallet here, euros and dollars. And I'm going to send from Revolut. Please don't take a picture of my bank account. I'm going to send money from my bank account to my wallet. Now I've sent it here, sent 10 euros. And within a minute, it'll show up as USDC on Polygon. So that's within 1 minute, moving from your bank account with instant SEPA to your on-chain wallet in USDC. And because we're using personal IBANs for your wallet, means that there are no bank rejections. What happens on the banking side is you get a new IBAN, and we move, which you basically make a person to yourself bank transfer from one of your own IBANs to one of your other IBANs. So there's no risk of bank rejections when you're off-ramping here. And it's free. We don't charge any fees on this. And we're offering the interbank FX rate. So basically, interbank FX rate is if you search on Google, that's the interbank rate. And maybe I talked so quickly that we have to wait another couple of seconds. It's not showing up in the wallet yet. You can also get early access to this. Not yet, but I put up a Tech Open Air activation code there, TOA 0723, so you can sign up for the waitlist if you're interested in this. I believe this is the first in the market. I haven't seen anything like this anywhere else, so pretty excited about it. And everyone we've talked to so far that's been trying out are like, whoa, this is cool. And there we go. Here's the USDC showing up in my wallet. 10 euros became $10.8. So yeah, that's it. Should also mention, while we're targeting crypto earners right now, we think crypto earners is an intermediary step, because if you make it so easy to send and receive dollars that you don't even feel that it's on-chain, then everyone can become a crypto earner. It's not crypto, it's just finance. It happens to be on another network. All right, thanks. Yep. No. Very diligently no to that. Yeah, in fact, we're shielding it from the RPCs, and we're not storing those addresses either. We're not even storing the addresses, actually. Not only do we not store the user and IP and whatever, we store neither of them, no link, and neither of them independently either. All right, cool. Thanks, everyone.